favorite drink and get ready for an unfiltered, enlightening, and comfortable ride. Sip back and relax. And welcome to 100 Proof Radio with Jay Wesley.
What's up, everybody? This is Jay Wesley, founder of Cocktail Chronicles and your host of the 100 Proof Radio Show, coming to you every Tuesday at 10 p.m. right here on the Sensation Station Network with Radio Not Dumbed Down. The purpose of this show is to empower each and every one of you to be smarter, wiser, and confident beverage consumers. And we do that through weekly, healthy, mature, and fun dialogue with topics such as cocktails and sex, cocktails and spirituality, cocktails and fitness, cocktails and health. And tonight's topic is cocktails and airports. Can you sip and fly high? We have a phenomenal guest lineup tonight with Ann Tunerman on the telephone lines. Ann is the CEO of Tales of the Cocktail, one of the largest the largest bartender conference in the world that's held every year in New Orleans. We also have Bené Wilson, former Vice President of the National Association of Black Journalists and CEO of Aviation Queens. And we also have in the studio with us tonight Grant Hurlis, who is a brand ambassador for Deaf Door Spirits. That's going to be highlighted in our international sip segment at the end of the night, where we get to taste and sample. It's my favorite part of the show. And we also have in the studio this evening Miss Sylvia Webb, flight attendant right here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we have our bartender, Julian Dixon, who works out of Atlanta, Hartsfield, Delta Fly High Bar. So, as we mentioned earlier, our goal is to teach you to be a better consumer, because there aren't many places that you can go and get this information, which is the purpose of our show, because we want you to realize that society judges you based on what you're drinking, and guess what? Where you're drinking, and even how you're drinking it. So that's why we come here, so that you can get the information, so that you can not send bartenders with eyes rolling behind their backs. And also, let's keep in mind to drink responsibly, and let's be sure to send prayers out to Hurricane Irma and Harvey victims. And if you can, send them some water, because that's an essential need for the body. Be sure to stay tuned to 100 Proof Radio with yours truly, Jay Wesley.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Uncle Dan? Mom?
Dad?
If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside. Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
We're
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, beyond differences in I Keep Safe, we're looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a
I
cold
want to be
day.
a football
I want to be
stadium.
a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Let's shake it up a little.
What's up, everybody? You are tuned in to 100 Proof Radio with yours truly, Jay Wesley. We are based right here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have a phenomenal show lined up with International Sips. We have Grant right here in the studio where we are going to do a product review and tell you to sip or not to sip. We also have Ann Tunerman, who is the CEO of the largest bartender conference in the nation, which is Tales of the Cocktail. That's going to be featured in our Hot Spots segment later on. So be sure to stay tuned. But right now, we are in our Shake It Up segment. And this is where we talk about the topic of the day. And today's topic is cocktails in airports. Can you sip and fly high? And we are going to start by letting each of our panelists to answer the first round of question would be, where is your favorite place in the airport to sip? And Ann, I know that you just came back from an international trip in Russia, if I'm not mistaken. So tell us what's your favorite airport in the world to sip at?
Well, I think it's right there in Atlanta, honestly. I think One Blue South is the best airport, cocktail bar that I've been to. And I'm hoping that is the start of a trend where you can have, a well-made cocktail, some nice food, in an airport. Prior to that, you saw more wine bars or beer places or places to watch a football game and maybe have a craft beer. But One Blue South, I think it's in Terminal E in the Atlanta airport, is fabulous. And I know people that literally have flown to the Atlanta airport just to have cocktails and food there.
Absolutely. And so let's go to Benet, our other phone guest. And Benet is the CEO and editor-in-chief of Aviation Queen. So you stay in airports, Benet, is that correct?
Yes, I do. And I want to tell you that you are getting your wish. There are more airports that are stepping up with bars and food like One Flew South. One Flew South is also one of my favorites, but since you took that one, I'm going to go with Tequila. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's Tacquila. Tequila. It's in Newark Liberty Airport's Terminal C. That's the United Terminal, and it is one of the world's largest tequila bars. They have more than 200 different types of tequilas. They have some really great mezcal options, and they have brands that go up to Clase Azul Ultra Anejo, which is about $1,500 a bottle.
Wow.
And there are a lot of great margaritas. They're classic cocktails, and they are served with freshly squeezed lime juice in crystal margarita glasses. The bar is really something to behold.
Excellent.
That sounds fabulous.
Yeah, it's a company called OTG Management, and they're really kind of, no pun intended, raising the bar when it comes to bars and airports.
I fly into Newark quite often, so I will be sure to check that out. Grant, let's go to you. Grant is a longtime bartender before switching over to the corporate side of things as a brand ambassador. So we'll get a little bit more into your details of what you do later in the International Sip segment. But for right now, Grant, can you tell us what's your favorite bar around the nation within airports?
We've got to jump to one of the best cities in the country, Chicago, Illinois.
All right, my hometown.
And Frontera Grill, which is a restaurant in the city. But they've also, I think they've got 2 or 3 locations inside of O'Hare now, all the United terminals. Margaritas made from scratch, great tacos, can't go wrong with that.
Terry Grill.
Frontera
Grill.
Yes.
All right, excellent. I have to check that. I go home quite often, so I'm loving this. I'm learning quite a bit. So Sylvia is our flight attendant, so I'm quite sure she see a lot in the air with people sipping and flying high. But what's your favorite bar, seeing that you go all across the nation flying? What's your favorite bar?
To be quite honest with you, I don't have a favorite. I'm all over the country.
Okay.
And I myself am a wine drinker.
Okay.
So Vino Zolo Wine Bar is my favorite, and it's in quite a few airports. And the wine selections are pretty exquisite, and it's a nice atmosphere. Very, very nice atmosphere. Great tapas type food. It's very good.
Absolutely. For those that are at home, we have our Cause and the Stir segment coming up. So if you have questions for any of our phenomenal guests tonight, be sure to get ready to dial in to 678-613-5857. However, we have one more guest left, and he is an actual bartender here in Atlanta, and his name is Julian Dixon. What's your favorite bar?
So
and you can't name your bar.
Yeah, so I don't have a favorite bar in particular. But when it comes to sipping and being in the airport, you want to get as much as you can for the price you pay. So definitely the Sky Club, you pay a one-time fee, and you can just, ride that out for as long as your layover is. So that's definitely, I think, more bang for your buck is where you want to go when you're drinking in the airport.
And you say that's the Sky Club?
Yeah, man.
All right. So you all hear that. So be sure to stay tuned with us. We are coming right back into our Shake It Up segment, but we still have International Sips, we have Hot Spots, and we have What's on Fire in the beverage industry. Stay tuned to 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley.
Radio, not dumbed down.
Uncle Dan?
Mom? Dad?
If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. You know, I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby. Goo goo gaga. Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're not the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
I'm not.
M2.
I'm not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
What's up, everybody? You are tuned into 100 Proof Radio Show with yours truly, Jay Wesley. This is the show where we empower each and every one of you to be a better, smarter, wiser, confident beverage consumer. And we do that through healthy topics like tonight of discussing cocktails in airports. How do you sip and fly high? So we are going to go back to Sylvia. She brought up an excellent point over break as far as flight attendants and the people who drive the planes. What's their role? Pilots, thank you. They are under a different set of rules because they can't always drink when they're in the airport. So how does that work? Can you not drink at all? Or
it's just that, you can when you're flying on your personal time, of course, but it's not appropriate and not acceptable to have cocktails or any type, or even be inside a bar while in uniform.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, is that a written rule?
Absolutely.
Or is it an unwritten rule?
It is written.
Okay.
Nice and hard.
And so even if you all have layovers, you have delays, you can't go have a cocktail?
No, as long as you are in uniform representing your airline, whatever airline it may be, you are not allowed to be near a bar. You should not be in a bar at all.
It's not a matter of your blood level being under a certain amount, which means
It's not a matter of any of that. It is, you cannot in uniform be near a bar because the general public will assume whether you're going up for a Coke or going up for water, they will assume that you are having a cocktail, and it would not be a pretty situation. So.
But Nay, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I mean, I agree with her that the Federal Aviation Administration has very strict rules about flight crews on duty. And, I mean, there have been a lot of news stories about pilots and flight attendants who have been allegedly drunk when boarding a plane. So there are very strict rules about that, and it's too bad that they can't enjoy a cocktail, but I would rather have my flight attendant and flight crew sober and ready to fly.
Excellent. Well, that's great information. And you must feel very proud. You brought up a great point, which saying you've noticed how the bars in the airports have become more crafty and have risen the bar on their cocktails. So, and have you ever considered that you are part of that? Because you do so much education to bartenders with hosting the world's largest bartending conference. Would you say that some of that come from these bartenders attending Tales of the Cocktail?
Well, I think that's part of... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
And
well, I think that's part of it. But I think when you're looking specifically at airports, airports are turning more and more to non-airline related revenue. So the way that airports make money, instead of, with all the airline consolidation consolidation, airlines aren't paying as much rent. So they have to look to things like bars and restaurants. So they're trying to not only improve the passenger experience, but improve their bottom line.
All right, excellent. And how would you like to add
And if
to that?
if I can add to that, I think that that's definitely one of the reasons. But I do think that we have had an impact on everything from airports to hotel chains, because bartenders are more educated now. I mean, we just celebrated our 15th anniversary at Tales of the Cocktail this year, and because of that, the consumer is also more educated. So at the bar that you referenced in Newark, which sounds fabulous, a consumer might not be able to articulate that they understand that juice is fresh and it gets juiced every day, but they know they're tasting a better margarita, and their taste and expectations have improved. So I think now what you're seeing is anybody that opens a bar, and even like national chains, for example, are having to make sure that they have quality cocktails in addition to a good wine list or a nice craft beer list or something like that. They don't have to be complicated, but people have different expectations of quality now. So I think that the airports are seeing that too, and they're seeing that people will pay for something a little better. And I think it's great too, because you'll tend to stay a little longer, or maybe you have a favorite airport that you prefer flying out of Newark instead of JFK because of these amenities. So I think it's a win for everybody.
Julian, have you seen a difference of people taking on the craft cocktails at the airports?
Absolutely, man. I mean, you're starting to see people get away from the margaritas and Long Islands and things. You start people leaning towards like the Manhattans, Old Fashions, and the traditional classic cocktail. So it's always good to know that your guests that are coming in, they're being a little more knowledgeable about the drinks that are out there, and then knowledgeable about the drinks that they want. And hopefully the bartender they ask knows what they want, and they can make that for them.
And touched on a good point. Do you feel that consumers are more smarter when it comes to their beverages as a bartender, front line?
I feel like some do, yeah. Some. And I feel like some try, and you can kind of tell the ones that, know what they're talking about, and some that are kind of like waffling through it, but you can definitely tell.
And here's another question for you. I've been told that there are secret bars in airports. Is this true?
Not necessarily secret bars, but there are certain companies that have these private lounges, such as the Delta Sky Club that I have. There's a Centurion lounges, there's American Express lounges. There are certain lounges that are out there that everyone may not know about if they don't travel as much.
So what does it take to be part of these, to go into these bars? You have to have a membership? Do you pay for the membership?
For the majority, I think all of them you have to have an annual membership. Some are a little more than others, but for the majority, all of them are definitely frequent flyers, people that are always in the air for business or work. But the annual membership fee is what.
So I mean, are they checking for a card at the door?
Absolutely.
Yes. Really?
Yeah, you can't just walk in like you can like a Friday or something like that and just sit at the bar. There's a desk with agents, and they'll stop you if you because they just want it to be exclusive. They don't want anybody to just come in there and just feel they're free to come in. So.
Wow. So sticking on the same topic of craft cocktails, Sylvia, you are in the air. We talking about on ground with craft cocktails, but I've noticed with airlines creating craft drink menus and even changing them out every several months. So how have clients taken on, or riders, passengers taken on to craft cocktails in the air?
Well, just as Ann said, they are a lot more savvy in their cocktail selections, and the airline is trying to keep up with the more educated consumers and airline flying passengers. So yes, a lot of them are switching out drinks, trying different things, and if something sticks, they'll keep it a season. And so they're trying to satisfy all passengers now, and you have more international flying in and out of all over the world now. So they're they're pretty.
All right. Well, we're definitely looking to hearing more because I want to know about people drinking at 6 in the morning. I want to know when they drink too much. I want to hear some of those stories. So we're going to get to it. But stay tuned to 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Uncle Dan?
Mom? Dad?
If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside. Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over.
As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
What's up, everybody? You are tuned in to 100 Proof with Jay Wesley right here in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the station that's not dumbed down right here on the Sensation Station Network, coming to you every Tuesday at 10 p.m. We empower you through intellectual, healthy, fun conversations right here on 100 Proof Radio so that you can be a more confident, empowered consumer. Right now, we are in the midst of our Causing a Stir segment. This is where you can type in your questions on Facebook, so get the typing, and we will read your questions. So the first question that we have, I guess, is geared for you, Sylvia. The consumer is asking, how do you deal with intoxicated travelers? If you are a flight attendant and you see someone get off the plane really intoxicated, is there a protocol for that?
Yes, the proper protocol is to contact the agent that is meeting the flight, and you can do that via the captain or one of the flight attendants step off the aircraft and advise them that the passenger is intoxicated, because what you don't want is a situation where he goes to the next flight. In most cases, they're connecting, and they become a problem on the next flight because of intoxication.
At any point, do you cut them off in mid-air and say, I can't serve you anymore?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And all that depends on the length of the flight. If you're doing a domestic flight and they're intoxicated, you're probably going to cut them off right away. But if you're doing an international flight and you have a few hours, generally what we say is, sir, we feel that you're in, or ma'am, that you're intoxicated, and we're going to hold off from giving you any more liquor for a couple of hours and assess the situation later. Or depending on how intoxicated they are, you just immediately tell them we're no longer serving alcohol.
Excellent. Benet, this next question is for you. What are the perks of being part of a Sky Club, and can anyone join a Sky Club membership?
Well, domestically, anyone, if you pay a fee, they usually range between $40 and $60. You can get in, but the clubs are for the frequent flyers, people who have gold and up status. And the advantage is you're away from the masses. A lot of airlines have revamped their clubs. I'm thinking about United, Delta, and American specifically, where they have upped the food that they offer, they have upped the wine, they have upped the bars that they have. So if you want to kind of get away, you want a little peace and quiet, a nice snack, and something nice to drink, it's definitely worth getting status or even paying the day rate to go to these lounges.
So let's go to the day rates. So if I'm not a member, then I can get in if I pay the day rate. What does a day rate look like?
I'll give you an example. I had to fly to Atlanta, and I had a 4-hour layover. So I went to the new Sky Club in Concourse, the Delta Sky Club in Concourse B, and I paid $55, and that gave me. I was there for breakfast and lunch. They had cocktails, they had wine. Now, some of the stuff you do have to pay for, depending on the lounge. But
so you're telling me in these private bars, these Sky Club bars.
Delta Sky Club, yes.
So they have free drinks and food? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, they do. But if you're getting, sometimes depending on which lounge it is, if there are premium drinks or premium wine, you do have to pay for them, but it's a lot lower than if you just went into the airport. But the food is free.
This is good information. I hope you all are watching at home and taking notes. Julian, this next question is for you. Is there a limit on the amount of drinks that someone can have at an airport bar?
Not necessarily as far as the number is concerned. Everybody's different, and everybody's different on how much alcohol they can take. So, I mean, that's when our training kicks in as far as, us being able to, see those signs when somebody's starting to get to that limit. We start to slow it down or even cut them off. But there's no number as far as how many drinks a person can have. We just kind of, scope them out and judge them, for while they're there. We kind of get a feel for how long they're going to be there and how fast they drink their drink.
So out of every 100 customers that come, how many out of 100 did you would say you cut off?
I don't cut somebody off every day. That's not something that happens every day. Okay. Maybe once a week, maybe twice a week on a crazy week. But for the most part, a lot of the people that come in, they're on their best behavior. They know how to act. They're not somebody that comes in and they try to abuse what we give them for free and just get out of hand. So.
And on break, you were talking about something very significant, that your doors open at 6 a.m. and you said there is a line
every day
waiting.
Every day. Now, the club I work in, it opens at 6. On A concourse, they have something open at 5, so that's even earlier.
And people are there?
Every day.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Same on
interesting.
Flights.
I guess it's 5 p.m. somewhere.
Right.
But, this is interesting because Cocktail Chronicles, which is a multi-digital media publication that I founded, we did our own survey with 16,000 people taking the survey, and we asked, is it wrong to drink before 12 noon? And 88%,
Come on.
88%
No.
of the participants said no. I was surprised. I was always brought up under the rule that you can't drink until after 12 p.m. noon.
I think that's a household rule.
Yeah, that's a
I
household
mean, it's not a cardinal rule written down anywhere.
And it's 12 p.m. somewhere.
Right.
There's no time in
There's no time in an airplane.
Exactly.
So, Grant, you do a lot of traveling. You've been a bartender before, going on the corporate side of things. And so, what do you think everyone should know as a traveler and stopping at a bar?
I would say the first thing, drink like a professional. That's why I really
Thank
like
you.
going in the lounges.
Thank you so
because
much.
it's professional travelers in there.
A lot of people lose.
They know how to handle themselves. It's going to be quieter. People get in, get out, do it right.
So I can't come in and play some music on the jukebox and
No.
No.
We will politely tell you to turn it off.
I can't have my beats on and have them rocking.
That's a little different. That's a little different.
It's often a lot of corporate executives going through, and so many of them are working while they're in the lounge. They may be having cocktails, but they're also working.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get ready to go to break and coming back to Causing a Stir. So if you have questions, be sure to type them in right here on Facebook. Meanwhile, we have International Sips coming up and Hot Spots. And stay tuned to 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley.
Hey, this is John Legend.
Hey, what's happening, man? It's the King speaking.
This is Jeremiah.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Gotta be.
Sensation Station Network.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
There's a power you have within you, unlike any other. You can't explain it. It's just there. It drives you, compels you. You cannot ignore it. Do you feel it? It's that power that tells you you can do the absolute impossible. The power that tells you you're more than what you currently are. The power that tells you it's time. Launch. Move. Skyrocket your life with Rocket Sports One fitness gear. RocketSports-One.com.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for staying tuned to 100 Proof with Jay Wesley. And we are in the midst of our Causing a Stir segment. This is where each and every one of you can write your questions and we will answer them for you. I'm telling you, I'm being schooled and educated. Most of the topics I know a lot of information about, but this was one that actually came up in a Facebook group where people told me that I need to discuss this, and I was like, wow, I guess I do. I don't even know nothing about it. So I put the topic together, invited in phenomenal guests that we have here. But while we were on break, Julian, you were bringing up a good point about membership. Can you tell us about that again?
Yeah, so as far as the Delta Sky Club is concerned, you got two different memberships you can get. You have an executive one and an individual. With the executive one, you get unlimited passes all year with up to 2 guests to come with you. You don't have to pay for them at all, and they all can, eat and drink, use a full club. The individual is more for lone travelers, if you don't really have company with you, and that's $450 a year. So I mean, it's not that bad if you travel a lot. If you only travel 2 or 3 times a year, it's just more beneficial for you to come in and pay the $59 and just get that pass.
And then the majority of the airlines, pretty much all the airlines have that in their clubs, where you pay a day pass if you need to.
But Nate, do you have a better rate that you can beat that?
No, I don't.
Okay, just checking. So, Ann, let's go back to you. You just traveled back from Russia. Did you stop at any particular bars while traveling through the airports going to or from Russia?
I actually did not, and it was very interesting traveling to St. Petersburg, Russia, and being based in New Orleans, and I'm pretty loyal to Delta, which I do recommend. If you kind of like pick an airline and, stick with them, then you can get into those sky clubs and other perks without having to pay. But I flew from New Orleans to Atlanta, Atlanta to Amsterdam, and Amsterdam to St. Petersburg. And I actually did not have long layovers. I mean, it was odd, but they were like, an hour in between each flight. So with the language barrier in some of these places and, trying to make sure I didn't miss any flights or anything, I just focused on, getting on the plane. And unfortunately, I didn't have the luxury to have any cocktails in the airport. But I did visit some really interesting bars in Russia.
Wow, interesting. And so, Benet, you actually just came back from international travel. Where did you go, and did you stop at any particular bars while traveling to or from?
Yes, I just got back from Seoul, South Korea on Saturday, and I flew out of Washington Dulles, and I stopped by my favorite Vino Volo, which is a very nice wine bar. They have curated wines. Each location has curated wines from all over the world, and you can taste the flight or you can taste it by the glass. You can also buy bottles to take with you.
Absolutely, that sounds...
I did that on the way in, and then on the way out, I did stop at a Korean bar in the airport. I tasted this Korean vodka called soju, and it's kind of this grapefruit-flavored vodka, and I don't like grapefruit, and I'm not a huge vodka fan, but this stuff was good.
Oh, wow. Sounds wonderful. Well, we're going to take a break, and we're going to be coming back to our On Fire segment. Stay tuned to 100 Proof with Jay Wesley.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for staying tuned to 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley. We still have International Sips coming up with Brent, and we also have our Hotspots coming up with Ann Tunerman, the CEO of Tales of the Cocktail. But right now, we are in the midst of our On Fire segment, and this is where I tell each and every one of you what's popping and crack-a-lacking in the beverage industry. So I'm not sure if you all have heard, but there was an armored truck robbed with hot coffee. So there was a quick trip here in Atlanta where a man dressed as a construction worker threw hot coffee on an armored truck driver that was female. So the robber got away with a bag filled with cash. And so aren't these armored guys strapping with guns? I'm not sure why she didn't shoot, but the coffee definitely distracted her. So getting burnt with coffee is definitely no joke. Sylvia, have you ever burnt yourself with coffee?
Yes.
So you can imagine how it feels. Next in our On Fire segment, we have Labor Day weekend was Black Gay Pride here in Atlanta, Georgia, and several bars were closed down. Blake's, 10, G's, 10th and Piedmont, which is the name of the club, is also across street as well. What you know about 10th and Piedmont?
Those are great bars.
A few of those bars you just named, I know them to be packed for these type of functions and things like that. So to hear that they were closed, it kind of makes me think, what's the underlying issue?
Exactly, which is what we're going to go to, because you're right, they are packed. You were talking about hundreds. It was hundreds of people in these clubs. So it's estimated that over 400 people were at these clubs combined. But the city ordinance allowed them to stay open on Sunday nights until 2:30 a.m. for the Labor Day weekend. The typical time that clubs close are midnight on Sunday nights.
You know what I just found out, Jay? In Atlanta, every time there's a holiday on Monday, all the bars will do that. On a holiday only.
Wow.
On a holiday.
Okay, I didn't know that. I know there are certain weekends that the city allows the clubs to stay open. So, well, this was one of them, and so people are saying that it was racially motivated, and it was not just racially motivated because this was Black Gay Pride weekend, but it's because of sexual orientation. So, 10th and Piedmont is defined as the gay area.
Right, so I don't really understand that. But there was a lot going on that weekend. Not only was it that Gay Pride weekend, you had
Comic-Con.
You had the Dragon Con. You had the football game, I think the Alabama and Florida State game. So you had a lot of events in town that were just like, the city was overwhelmed with people.
Yeah,
so,
but that's good revenue. That's good money for the city.
You're right. Everybody spends green money.
Yeah, but you're saying they closed only the gay bars, so that had nothing to do with it.
Right.
So,
but I mean, all that kind of is in the area. You had the Dome not too far from there. And then,
right, but they only closed the gay bars, so that's a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that raises eyebrows.
That's
So you really don't know what to think.
So tell us.
The police did apologize. They said it was a communication failure, and at the end of the day, the commander who demanded those clubs to be closed was reassigned. So I guess a reassignment is like a punishment for him.
So it was somebody for the police department to order for these clubs to be closed?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
The police actually closed them. Even when the club owners came out and presented their ordinances, they still forced them to close. So that's what's happening on fire around the nation in the beverage industry world. Be sure to stay tuned. We have International Sips coming up, where we are going to tell you whether to sip or not to sip of this product that's sitting right behind me. And we also have Ann Tunerman that's going to tell you all about Tales of the Cocktail. Yours truly, Jay Wesley, 100 Proof.
Station Network. Never achieved before.
Uncle Dan?
Mom? Dad?
If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside. Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for staying tuned to 100 Proof Radio Show, the show that empowers you to drink responsibly. So, which goes right into a good point of our segment with Ann Tunerman. Ann Tunerman is the CEO of the largest bartending conference in the world. So if you are a bartender or want to be a bartender or just want to be around phenomenal people that like to have fun, be sure to tune in and ask any questions that you may have. Ann, are you there?
Yes, I am.
So I want to know, how did you begin Tales of the Cocktail? What inspired you to create this conference?
Well, I was actually inspired really by a love of New Orleans history. So Tales of the Cocktail, we celebrated our 15th anniversary this year. Well, prior to that, I started a walking tour of New Orleans bars and restaurants. And we still actually offer the walking tour today. And it takes you to, famous bars and restaurants in New Orleans and tells you the story of many of the famous cocktails invented in New Orleans. So from the Sazerac, the Rainbow Gin Fizz, the Brandy Crusta, the Grasshopper, the Hurricane. We've actually created so many cocktails, and many of these places that created these cocktails are also still here. So I really wanted to tell the story of these cocktails and take people on this walking tour. So that was the original idea. And then to celebrate the first anniversary of that walking tour, I came up with the idea for our Tales of the Cocktail, which, literally was like 50 people that first year. But I'm probably aging myself saying this, but, it was a lot harder then because there was no social media. So literally, you were making phone calls, hustling, meeting people. And something like a tour is just like a bar or a hotel or an airplane.
And how many
Every
people
day,
attend?
there's nobody taking it. Go ahead.
How many people attend Tales of the Cocktail currently? And how many did you start off with?
Literally year one, we probably had like 50 people in the back of the carousel bar. And this past year, we easily had, several thousand. And we had people from, 35 countries. So again,
I was one of them.
Kenya, Nigeria, Lithuania.
And I must say...
And we had you.
Yes, exactly. I must say I've been a bartender over 15 years. And I was kicking myself, still slapping myself, that this was the very first year that I attended. I learned so much. I enjoyed meeting so many people. So I thank you for putting that on. What were your biggest takeaways from this year alone?
Well, first, I want to thank you very much for joining us. And actually, I want to invite you to see if we can, take the Chronicles show on the road, and maybe you could do a special show, from Tales of the Cocktail next year, because we definitely want you back. There was a lot of, takeaways from this year. I see sustainability as being more of a trend in the industry and something people are conscientious of. I see diversity, which you and I have talked about, and something that we're really tackling head on for the industry, being much more important. I see people drinking more, quality over quantity. I see some trends in low-proof drinks or, spritzes kind of happening. So there's always, a lot to, take away from, the event. But what really excites me, honestly, is like people like you joining us. Or, we had a young woman this year who came from Nigeria. She's 31. She's the only female bar manager in Nigeria.
Wow, that's amazing.
She's never been out the country. And then to see those people get so inspired and energized, because if you love the hospitality industry, being around all these other people, that's what I love.
It inspires
it's so
you,
unbelievably
absolutely.
energizing.
And I want to just say, keep doing what you're doing. We love you, and we appreciate and we value it. Be sure to stay tuned. 100 Proof with Jay Wesley.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
Sensation Station Network. Radio 2, Atlanta. When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We could share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for staying tuned to 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley. And Tuneman is a phenomenal woman, and keep doing what you're doing. But right now, we are in the last segment of the show, which is always my favorite part of the show. And I happen to have my good friend Grant right here, and this is the International Sip segment, and this is where we tell you whether to sip or not to sip. So Grant, tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I'm originally from Chicago. After that, I moved up to Wisconsin to bartend, where I was introduced to Death Store Spirits. Death Store comes from Wisconsin. The big question everyone has is the name, Death Store. Am I going to die from drinking this? That's not what it means. It's named after a body of water. So way up north, kind of by where the Green Bay Packers play, there's a peninsula that juts out. And about 5 miles off this peninsula is an island called Washington Island. The area of water around this island is known as Death Store Passage. There's over 300 shipwrecks going back 150 years, including a boat went down last summer. So all of our wheat for Death Store is grown on this island.
Oh, wow. So, let's taste and see to see if we go down after a sip of this. So, salute.
Salute.
I taste the botanicals. I taste juniper berries.
Absolutely. So there's probably a little bit of sweetness in there as well. Mm-hmm. If you've ever been to Wisconsin, you're going to know it gets cold. So our wheat up there develops a really nice sweetness. Not a sugary sweetness, but I compare it to like a white bread. Sort of get up. And then the botanicals itself, using juniper berries picked by bartenders on Washington Island.
My stuff, you guys.
Yeah.
I knew I tasted juniper in there.
And then coriander, and then fennel seed.
Oh, fennel seed too, nice.
Absolutely.
So where can people find this?
Well, we're the #1 selling premium gin in America. So you can find this a lot of places. You can find this at most of your big stores, ton of bars here in Atlanta.
So what makes this better, or why should people drink this over the Tanqueray or Bombay? Because those are the popular gins that most people know about. Why should they buy this, and what makes it better?
So first off, I want to say those are great gins. I've spent a lot of time drinking those. 3 botanical gin. It's going to create kind of a simple flavor. You know, it's going to mix very well. But something else to focus on it, both those gins you just mentioned, where do they come from? No, let's drink something domestic that's made here in the United States. The bottle comes from the U.S. The label's printed right here in Georgia.
Oh, wow.
It's always awesome to support the local economy.
You on the airline one day, huh?
And here's a little snippet that only a few people knew about me, but gin was my first starter drink. So I was pledging you guys back in college, and they would call for us to come over, what we call a session, and I would make them wait. I would pour some gin and put on some gospel music. Not a good mix, people think, right?
That is
And I will say, like, it was Tanqueray, because some people, ask, like, how are you drinking Tanqueray back in college? But, so, what do you want to leave people with as far as Death Doors in this segment?
I just want to make sure everyone knows how much we try and support the farming community on Washington Island. That's why the product was originally created. It was an agricultural program. But besides that, it tastes good.
It's nice and smooth.
I like
it is smooth.
And you're a bartender. What do you think about it, Julian?
And I liked his description earlier. He said it has like a real simple flavor. Some gins, they have a little bit of a bite to it. Like the juniper may come through too strong or might be too florally and sweet. I think this has a really nice, simple balance. He said, I think it'd be good on the rocks with a little tonic.
Yeah, I love it.
Lime always spice it up a little bit.
Sylvia, what do you think about it?
As I said earlier, I'm no gin drinker, but this is pretty good.
So we're gonna sip
I
it
guess,
then, right?
I guess I found a gin I like.
Yes, absolutely. And for Ann and Benet, who's on the phone lines, I'll be sure to have a sip for you all. And as always, I thank each and every one of you for tuning in each week to the 100 Proof Radio Show. every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Be sure to tune in next week. We have cocktails and entrepreneurs as our topic, and stay tuned.